Josh, how are you doing today? Nice to be talking with you.
Nice to talk to you too, John. How are you?
Fine,
I'm
thank you.
good.
Now, we all saw how you went out last night, but the good thing is you went out because everybody considered it a threat. You must be proud of that and how you played the game in the sense that they knew you were a strong player and they had to get rid of you.
Right, exactly. Going to the game, I knew I was going to be a threat just
Right.
because my scars, my tattoo, my physical prowess. So I wanted to make myself look as small as possible, or attempt to, and just be that support for the tribe. And so having Danny there on Soka kind of helped with that because he was kind of my meat shield.
Right.
So lying about my profession, I tried to make myself look even smaller because as a surgeon, I'm used to being a leader in charge, but I didn't want to
Right.
come off too aggressive and be labeled that
Right.
way because I thought that was going to put a bigger target on my back. I wanted to save my chronic illness for later for final tribal to discuss it and discuss kind of what I've been through for more votes and just to let
Right.
everyone know like I've done all this and I'm still here and then talk about my gameplay. But
Now, obviously, I mean, you've come a long way. You've had lots of struggles during your life. It must have been hard to, to put those things away, to hide the fact that you're a surgeon, to hide all those struggles you faced. How was it for you, and how did you like weigh that into your mind? Because that must have been very difficult for you.
it was. I was struggling out on the island just with my illness and
Yeah.
not saying a lot about my condition. Of course, I was worried about it. I talked to producers about it, and I was very vocal, but I didn't want to tell my tribe that. And
Right.
maybe
Right.
that's why was considered cagey. But in all, I was just trying to stay as small as possible, and because of that, I don't think I got the connections that I wanted with the tribe.
No, we didn't see a whole lot of that. How was your illness affecting you on the island? What were you battling as well as the game and the other castaways? Obviously, what else was affecting you?
So I had a kidney transplant back in 97. I don't
Right.
have a stomach secondary to cancer. I had that resected in 2013.
Right.
So not having a stomach, I didn't have a sense of hunger like everybody else.
Right.
So I was just getting weaker and weaker as the day goes on. And that's kind of explains the grimace on my face. Like I don't naturally have a mean face. It's just I was not feeling good. My stomach was
Right.
hurting, or like my guts were hurting. I guess I don't have a stomach. And so I was struggling. I was passing out a lot on the island because of
Wow.
that struggle. Just because my blood pressure would just drop too low and you would stand up too quickly, not thinking about it, and be done. So I was talking to medical a lot, and it was just been an adventure and a journey and a great, great experience that I've been able to even do this because I never thought I could growing up.
Right. Right. Now, we saw the what was going on with all the chaos at the tribe last night. And why do you think you couldn't move the tribe to target Yam Yam? What is it about him that does he have a good social game? Why is it did you land up you ended up on Kane eventually, but what was that all about, and why do you think they were reluctant to target him?
That's a great question. I think GM does have a brilliant social game. He's really,
Yeah.
really good. I going back in time, I wish I wouldn't have brought our drama to that beach because I think that immediately put a target on our back. So, like, if we're beefing, then okay, get one of them two out. That's easy.
Right.
And then when we were on that small tribe of six that couldn't vote after our challenge, and he was there, then I was like, well, let's get Jam Jam out. That was the plan.
Yeah.
But then, like Heidi was saying, like there was so much chaos on that beach because everyone was starting to get to know each other, trying to figure out information, find out
Right.
what idol was what. So no one really had their footing on who was with who. For me, coming in, I was like, well, let's stay Soka strong, like we talked about in the beginning. So when we
Yeah.
got to the beach, I started talking to Soka members, just trying to get footing and maybe vote out Rot 2 and then slowly go down the line. And then I could bring Carolyn back on my side so she would see that I'm not a part of a meat brigade. Because
Right.
once that happened, when she got back from that journey, everything changed with me and her, which I wish it wouldn't have. So I was trying to bring her back in on my side too with the Kane situation.
Well, talking about Carolyn, were you surprised to see what she was talking about at the reward? I mean, she basically cost you under the bus big time. Did you expect that? Because I mean, you were just working with her.
I did expect that because when she got back from her journey with Brandon and Danny, her whole
Right.
mentality towards me was done. Like her vibe was different.
Wow.
Everything changed. And that's why I had to bring out that fake, awful, hilarious, fake idol thing
Right.
just to try to save me and get off my hat. So when she went over there, I knew she was going to talk about that. I knew it. So I was like, well, let me use this to my advantage and start chaos here. So when I told Brandon that I do have an idol, what I wanted was information. I wanted to, if I'm going to be put on this meat brigade, maybe I should just like live it up and go with
Right,
it.
right, right, right.
But he didn't tell me much at all. So I was just trying to start chaos and get info.
Now, we saw when the tribes merged last night, there was a lot of chaos, as always happens. People are getting to know each other. People are trying to figure out other people, just like the first day of when you land on the island. Did you get any sense that there were factions forming, or that perhaps tribes were maybe thinking of banding together? Did you get any sense of that? What's your insight into what was happening around you when that was all going on?
There was so much chaos that it was hard to put your finger on it. And maybe I'm
Right,
just thinking old school. So I automatically thought like, okay, well, Ratu's going to stay together, Soka's going to stay together, and Tika's going to be the swing to
right,
whoever, because we were
right,
always kind of like that, Soka and Ratu.
right.
But I didn't get the sense that they were locked in because people were talking to everybody and everyone was just, it was a wild, wild ride. That day was a mess.
Now, we also saw you and Jamiam try to like bury the hatchet, kind of shake on it. What prevented you guys from working together, or was that in honesty? Was that true? How did that all come about, and what happened afterwards? Because it seemed like you were on the same page. It seemed like you were, at least for this vote, and then obviously radically things changed.
Correct. So that was me authentically trying to come back to Jam Jam because I
Right.
originally wanted to work with him when I got to Tika. Like I wanted to work with him so bad because we were a POC. We're both gay. We both have husbands. We both are
Right.
the same age. But when I think he betrayed me with writing my name down, I thought emotionally. And so
Yeah.
he was discounted in my mind. And I brought that to that Ratu Beach when we all were in Mergatory and I shouldn't have. And then going back at it when I was trying to bring him back in, I'm like, please, let's work together. Like Kane's
Yeah.
name is being brought up, we can do this and start to kind of get out their tribe and just work together. But, there was so much information and so much talk being discussed that when Matt, who I thought I was working with, came to me and
Right.
said, okay, we're just going to change to Jam Jam. And then it just kind of fell back on that. But everything was everywhere every 2 seconds.
Well, that's what I thought was interesting about your game. I mean, you approached it. I always say, like, play with your head, not your heart. But I'm not out there, and I'm not making bonds with people, and I'm not, so it's easy to say that. Did you find that a little bit difficult to kind of put the emotions away and just go with your gut and go with your head? Because again, I mean, you're with these people 24 hours a day.
Correct. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going out
Right,
there. As a surgeon, I'm not kind of taught like think objectively, not
right.
subjectively. I think I could have done that. But once that vote happened with Jam Jam and I, it took
Wow.
me somewhere that I would have just felt so betrayed because I wanted to work with him so bad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's when I stopped thinking here and started thinking here. And then I think that it just snowballed.
Right.
And yeah, thinking with your emotions, it was a lot harder than I thought for sure.
Now, I ask this of all the survivors I've talked to over the years, because again, what we see on TV is only a small amount of what actually happens on the island. So when you look back at your edit, is there anything like a moment, a strategic moment, a bonding moment? Is there anything that of your journey you wish fans got to see?
I wish they saw me talking more about my condition a little bit more. I was trying to
Right.
be quiet with the tribe, but I know producers, I talked to them a lot about me being born with Croon belly syndrome and having a kidney transplant and having my stomach removed and how much this meant to me to be an advocate for these people going through this chronic illness, never thinking they could do this and
Yeah.
showing them that you can do this. And so I wish I would have talked about it more or they showed that more when I was talking to producers because it was hard. I was struggling, and that may have played into my gameplay too. I was trying to hide so much and medically think about myself that I wasn't playing the game as much as I should have. But still, I was able to do this, and a lot of people aren't. And I just want to show everybody who is in the queer community who has chronic illnesses that reach for the stars. You can do it, and you can
Yeah.
do it better because you have persevered and keep going.
I mean, well, I think your life story proves that a lot. I mean, you've been able to achieve so much, but having gone through so much. And, I think in a sense that toughens people when you go through things and you learn from things, and maybe you have a little bit more appreciation for life as things going on. Now, unfortunately, you didn't get to reach the jury. If you had a jury vote right now, who would you give it to as the winner survivor?
If I had to do it right now, I really like Heidi.
Right,
I like Heidi a lot. I think she's playing a great game. I didn't get to talk to her as much as I wanted to on the island, but
right,
knowing kind of what's going on, like seeing it, I see. And
right,
I would give her hands down.
right. And one final thing too, I mean, you talked a little bit of before, but what do you want people to take away from your journey of being on the show?
So from a base that you can do anything you put your mind to,
Right,
perseverance with all of the like medical issues that I've gone through. I never thought I could do this. This is my
right,
first time applying because I've been so good. I'm stable in my career. I've been watching this since the beginning, and COVID kind of brought all that back up. And so seeing
right.
Jeff say apply, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna apply. I'm gonna do this. And so I just want people to know that, if you want to do something, go for it. Just
Yeah.
apply. So even having all these issues and medically, like you can still do it. So I want people to know that you can persevere.
Well, that's amazing, Josh. And again, it was fantastic to watch you on your journey. It was fantastic to see what you were able to achieve. And I think you're right in the sense that if you put your mind to something, you really can achieve quite a lot. So it was great watching you play. It was great hearing your story too. And all I can say is, I hope we get to see you sometime soon. Maybe your survivor journey isn't over yet. And all the best and continued health and all the success coming to you. So all the best to you.
Thank you, John. I would love to do this again. If you talk to Jeff, tell him I want to be on.
Absolutely. Well, have a great day, Josh. And again, it was great watching you. Take care.
Thanks, John. Bye.